Elections next year will come and go. Whether you keep shouting 4th term, 6th term, no term, whatever you want to shout, even those who have served for 1 term, keep shouting 1 term, they can go ahead. It is within their rights. Yeah. You know, many of those I see, some served as vice presidents for 1 term, others served as deputy president for 1 term, others served as members of parliament for 1 term, others are serving as members of parliament for 1 term, and they will actually serve for 1 term. That is why they have to go shouting it. But whether it is about those terms, let us hold our nation together. Let us enact pieces of legislation like this one that is clearly telling us what needs to be done, even as we offer power of mercy pursuant to this constitution. But also speak to our judiciary. As you dish out bail, as you dish out the preemptive court orders you dish out every day. They call it what? Preemptive, I don't know what they call it, Murugara. The injunctions they give out to preempt even arrest and investigations. Anticipatory bails. Thank you, Honorable Millie. As you dish out anticipatory bails and grant bails, please put it at the back of your mind if you are a magistrate, if you are a judge. What is the accused person accused of? If somebody has been accused of murder, we have seen the other day, policemen colluding with criminals and policemen actually becoming criminals to murder other Kenyans. Will we have them taken to court and the following day a magistrate just dishes out bail? What will they do? And they still have connections within the same police service. What will they do to the witnesses? Honorable Speaker, I'm saying that so that even as we consider this law, we also think through other pieces of legislation in our criminal justice system. Because part of the reasons of enacting this piece of legislation is to bring on board members of our society into the criminal justice system so that we also become active participants of the criminal justice system. I had a meeting this morning, Honorable Speaker, allow me to conclude with that, with members of my Nyumba Kumi and the village elders in Kikuyu constituency. And I was sharing some of these experiences with them. That the problem that bedevils us in our neighborhoods, especially in central Kenya, of illicit brews. It is much easier for me as a politician to accuse the police, accuse the provincial administration, or even those idiotic politicians who will say it is government that is bringing illicit brews to neighborhoods to finish people. But I was telling my village elders and Nyumba Kumi, we are parents, you are parents. Let us also engage and speak to our children. Because there's nobody who is ever forced to consume alcohol. But we must educate them. And when the chief does it, they may not take it as seriously as when their parents are educating them and telling them, please do not consume some of these illicit brews that are being sold to you at very cheap prices because they are being made at the corners of shops and people's houses. And therefore, as we bring into the fold of the GAO, or the National Government Administrative Officers, as we bring the Nyumba Kumis and the village elders into the fold, and I must thank members of this house who supported the policy proposals that came. Honorable Muthui, you remember, is his motion that brought to the realization what now the President and the Ministry of Interior has been able to actualize in paying a bit of stipends to our village elders. As we bring them into the fold, we need to make sure that we also educate them on the provisions of some of these laws. Honorable Speaker, I beg to second this bill and urge all of us to support it because it is a very progressive bill that, as I said, is actualizing the actual implementation of Article 133 of our Constitution on the power of mercy, so that we do it in an orderly, structured, and organized way. And for those who have gone through the report and the bill, you'll be able to see that they even laid out steps through which the advisory committees will work what kind of people may not benefit from the power of mercy. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I support and I beg to second and urge the House to support this bill.
Honorable members, I now propose a question that the Power of Mercy Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2025, be now read a second time. Yes, Chairman Murugara.
Chairman first. Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to laud the Deputy Chief Whip, who has ably moved the bill, and also the Leader of Majority, who has ably seconded the bill, such that today we are here to debate a very important piece of legislation, the Power of Mercy Bill, which does several things for this country, which things are very important. May I go on record rectifying or informing the Leader of Majority that on the 28th of February 2019, in this 12th Parliament, I had actually brought a motion on the village elders, which was successful, and Honorable Mutuse's motion on village elders borrowed a leaf from what I had brought that particular time. But all of this is commendable because our village elders today are drawing some stipends. Allow me also to explain to those who are here what exactly this Power of Mercy Bill is, because in essence, we are repealing a law known as the Power of Mercy Act, Chapter 94 of the laws of Kenya. In our history, it's curious when we are told that sometime in 1975, after the elections of 1974, a gentleman by the name Paul Gay lost a petition against him on the basis that he had conducted some witchcraft on some voters, and therefore he was guilty of an election offense. We read from the history books that one afternoon or one morning, he visited the president of the country, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and reminded him of many things, right from Kapenguria to where the country was that time. And he said he had to be forgiven. The word used is actually forgiven. Then we are told that that afternoon, the House convened and there was a constitutional amendment in courts whereby the president was granted power to pardon an election offense. That is purely not true factually, because what was amended that afternoon was actually the Power of Mercy Act, which did not include mercy regarding an election offense. That is why it went through the first reading, second reading, third reading, and was assented to that afternoon, and Paul Gay got the clemency he wanted. This is a law that is derived from England. Exercise of prerogative powers of the sovereign in the UK. The powers of the sovereign are the powers of the king or the queen who is reigning that particular time. This is how he's given power to forgive offenders through what is called the royal clemency. And now we call it the Power of Mercy, the Presidential Power of Mercy. Honorable Speaker, Justice and Legal Affairs Committee went through this bill with a tooth comb. It also listened to the various participants, the stakeholders who came over to make representations regarding the bill. And in our estimation, we have refined this bill to make it one of the best laws in the country, especially on the exercise of prerogative powers of mercy by the president. I would urge every member to obtain a copy of the report so that when we come to the committee of the whole house and we are proposing amendments, every one of them grasps what those amendments are in relation to and how they apply to make this law good. We have said that in this bill, the Power of Mercy Advisory Committee will actually sit in the office of the President. This is exactly where it's supposed to be, because their work is to act under Article 133 of the Constitution to advise the President on how to exercise the power of mercy, granted by a constitutional provision. We must always respect our Constitution. There are many issues we worry about from day to day, including what the leader of majority has gone through, that now all offenses in the country are bailable. And this is derived from our Constitution. We know very well that that sends jitters to the citizens, because constantly you hear somebody has murdered somebody else, somebody has killed somebody else, but those facts can only be ascertained after the person is convicted. The correct position is that every person brought before the court as a suspect is actually innocent until proved guilty. It is on that basis that we say you cannot delineate the rights, fundamental rights of freedom, such that the person is confined to prison, to remand when he's undergoing a trial, purely because we suspect he has committed a grievous offense. So, what the courts are supposed to do is to weigh the magnitude of the offense and make commensurate bail terms, so that the person is deterred from absconding or trying to interfere with witnesses. In any event, we have security agencies that will take care of such persons when they are out on bail. Most importantly, we must also talk about restorative justice. We are moving away from the old retributive justice, whereby we would say an eye for an eye. You kill somebody, we also kill you. You rob somebody, we kill you because you robbed. We must now move to restoring convicted persons, so that once they show remorse, once they actually show they are able to be corrected, then we are able to take care of them as human beings and not just to go and kill them purely because they killed somebody else. There has been mention of ADR. Again, this is being encouraged. We must move away from the old colonial laws which we have in the Penal Code. Those are laws which, from time to time, and I'm happy to report to this House, we are actually bringing in amendments to the Penal Code and the Criminal Procedure Code to try and align it with the most recent court decisions on how we should go about punishing offenders when they are convicted. And one of them, and you hear about this, is that Kenya is abolishing the death penalty. It is not true. It is not being abolished, but it's going to be one of the sentences that can be meted out on an offender for the capital offenses that are set out in our Penal Code. So we are saying you may be sentenced to death, or you may be imprisoned for a period of time, so that you can serve whatever it is the court metes out to you. We must move away from hanging people on the gallows. We must stop doing all these things because we feel they may not be in consonance with modernity today. So this bill is going to be enriched. It's going to be a bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm sorry for interrupting the chair as he's speaking, but would the chair just be clear, because he seems to be contradicting himself on the issue of the death penalty. On the one hand, he's saying that we are doing away with the death penalty. On the other hand, he's saying we are not doing away with the death penalty. I'm very keen, because I'm a proponent of abolishment of the death penalty.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Millie. This is what we are going to do soon, and we are bringing the report, and the bills are going to be read a second time. What we are doing in essence is to amend the penal code and provide for punishment for capital offenses. Remember, the courts have ruled that the mandatory death penalties are constitutional because the court must always be given a discretion. It cannot be told, you must do this. That's what the judges have said. So the discretion is going to be this. We will remove the mandatory nature of the death penalty, but it will remain. However, you can get a death penalty for what you have done, depending on the degree of your offense. Number two, you may get a prison sentence, a life sentence, which is going to be a maximum of 30 years or whatever it's going to be. Just to explain to Millie, what you are saying is we will have degrees even of murder, of robbery, of robbery with violence, etc., the capital offenses. So that if yours is first degree, you may get death sentence. The court has a discretion. If it is the second degree, you may get a life sentence. The third one, etc. The last bit I need to explain, even to the leader of majority, is what are called plea bargains. That's what he was saying. You get into ADR when you are actually charged. It is allowed in law. You can get into a plea bargain, and there are terms including restitution, that is trying to pay back to the people, and then you're charged not with murder, but with manslaughter, and you get a lesser sentence. Those are all called plea bargains. They are allowed in law. We cannot dismiss them just because they appear to be lenient. But remember, we are moving towards restorative justice, not retributive justice. This is what modernity is calling upon us to do. I beg to support this particular bill. Thank you very much.
Yes, MP for Undai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice on this very important bill, the Power of Mercy Bill, that helps us give effect to Article 133 of our Constitution. Honorable Speaker, I want to laud the committee that looked at this bill and brought up a report to the House. Indeed, this is a bill that is of great importance. We know that as it gives effect to the power of mercy that the President has to pardon anyone who has been in prison, has been jailed, who has served a sentence, that and already they are very remorseful, they've been able to be rehabilitated, and they have shown that they are able now to come back to the community and live a peaceful and harmonious life with the rest of Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, as I stand here this evening, it is true that we have very many Kenyans who have been in prison for very many years. We know of people who have been in prison for serving life sentences. We know of people who were initially were to face death penalty, but because of what has been described here, that the death penalty in the country as it is today, most of them are there serving life sentences. They have lived in prison to a point that they have been, they're fully rehabilitated. They are fully, they have been able to be extremely remorseful in what they did, and therefore they are back to normal in terms of they can come back to the community and engage in meaningful life and rejoin their families. Honorable Speaker, we know also that people who are serving life sentences and yet they did not commit the crimes that they have been, they were charged. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, in that situation, someone will be in prison for life, yet we know the circumstances at which they are charged will still raises questions, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have a classmate in high school, Dr. Agri High School, that went through Form 1 to Form 4, but in the year 2005, he was found to have committed a crime that up to today he says he did not commit. And some of us still believe that he didn't commit that crime. has committed a crime of murder, Honorable Speaker. He's been serving life sentence in prison. As we speak today, he's at Manyani Maximum Prison. He's served in all other maximum prisons in Kenya, but as we speak today, he's in Manyani Maximum Prison. His name is James Love Mwangongo, Honorable Speaker. This gentleman, Honorable Speaker, as we speak today, has reason to be a trustee of a trustee, or what we call a team leader or a prefect in Manyani. This gentleman, Honorable Speaker, is been he's been appointed as a teacher of others when they sit for exams. He's been serving as a teacher of English and literature at Manyani Maximum Prison. So being a trustee, Honorable Speaker, last time I visited him at Manyani, I met the officers, the prison officers there, and they sat me down and they told me, indeed, this young man has reformed. This young man is today, he needs to, he's been pursuing this power of mercy. But because of the challenges of getting this pardon, Honorable Speaker, it's become extremely difficult for him to access this, constitutional provision that he can be pardoned, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, this bill comes in at the right time, because the ambiguity that has existed now will be resolved by this bill that we are passing today, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, this bill, and I am to laud the mover of the bill, Deputy Majority Leader. She has indicated here, Honorable Speaker, that the advisory committee that will be set up will be able to, be set up with the caliber of people who will be able to look at, the attitude, the reform, the mindset, of this prisoner, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, when they recommend to the President that the person to be pardoned has reformed, then the President will not hesitate, but of course extend that power of mercy, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I truly want to support this bill. I truly want to say that we need to support this bill and pass it as fast as possible, so that then those of our people who are suffering in prison, who would benefit immensely from passage of this power of mercy bill, will be able to benefit and rejoin their families, Honorable Speaker. It is very difficult for families that have, people in prison that have, who are serving life sentences. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, this power of mercy bill, we need to pass it as fast as possible so that we can help many Kenyans to access the presidential directive, prerogative of offering a power of mercy. I stand to support, and thank you, Honorable Speaker.
What's your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, at your sole discretion, arise under Standing Order 96. Considering the importance of this bill, to be honest, colleagues, that at the appropriate time, and also considering the provisions of Standing Order 35, that you give direction on how to proceed, considering the importance of this bill and its far-reaching consequences to the penal system of this country and the lives of people who find themselves either wrongly or rightly in the wrong side of the law. So I just wanted to give direction either under Standing Order 35 or Standing Order 96. Look, thank you, Speaker.
No. If you want to adjourn debate on this until a further time, then you rise under 96. And what actually it says that the debate be now adjourned. You go full blast in it. Okay.
Honorable Speaker, in view of the importance of the bill, I seek your indulgence that we adjourn this debate pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 96.
You say, I rise under Standing Order number 96.
I rise under Standing Order.
That the debate be, just read it.
I rise under Standing Order 96 that the debate be now adjourned.
Honorable Speaker, I hear Honorable Undo, and indeed it's true, this is a very important bill. And I see many members who are lined up who want to contribute to this debate. So I don't know why the Honorable Undo would want to be curtailing debate on such an important bill. And maybe he's in a rush to go somewhere. You could indulge him and give him an opportunity to speak after the one who is speaking, so that he contributes and allows other members to debate, because all these members who are here want to contribute to this debate, and I find absolutely no reason to adjourn this debate. And in any case, Honorable Speaker, every member of parliament, even those of us who sit in this house, we are paid by the Kenyan people to come and legislate on their behalf. If you think this bill is very important to your constituents, you should be here. And if you are not here, you only have yourself to blame. You cannot stop the House from doing its work because one or two other people are not here. Honorable Speaker, I do want to urge you that you allow debate to continue.
The chair, Majority Leader, can you approach the... Opportunity for small consultation between the members. This is the House of Consultations. Yeah. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, you know the beauty with dealing with very mature legislators like Honorable Undo is because we consult across the aisle. And I have understood his concerns, and I have assured him we are not going to close this debate today. We will continue with the debate. We allow those who want to contribute. And I know there are one or two other people who he says had expressed interest to contribute. We will not close debate today. And therefore, I will not be replying to this bill today. Honorable Speaker, I will just beg your indulgence that when the last person to contribute contributes, you now adjourn until the next sitting of the House to allow any other member, the ones Honorable Undo mentions, may want to contribute.
The rules are clear. Order, honorable members. The rules are clear. When the member stands on standing order number 96, unless the speaker is of the opinion that this is a frivolous, with bad intentions, maybe to curtail the minority, then the chair puts the question. So then the question can be, if you defeat the question, then that's it. You continue with the debate. And then it's up to you again at an appropriate moment to raise the same. You know what I mean? But if you continue and you all discuss it, the chair has no option than to put the question. I hope you understand what exactly, how this thing works.
You put the question whether to adjourn or not.
I have no any other recourse other than to put the question right now whether debate should be adjourned. But if that is defeated, let's assume for argument's sake it's defeated, you continue with the debate. But should you wish again to adjourn, somebody has to rise again on the same, under 96. Other than the person who, you can't rise again, yes. Otherwise, if you all contribute, or whoever is interested in the list contributes,
it will be 7 by the time.
Then of course the chair has no option but to put the question again. You know what I mean? And conclude the debate. So now you understand what you. There you go. I now put the question that, order honorable members, I now put the question that debate do now adjourn. As many of the opinions say aye. As many of the contrary say nay. Nay. The nays have it. The nays have it, yes. Nays, whatever. Okay, the nays have it. And now the next person is one Joshua Kimilu. from Katie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to take the opportunity to thank for the opportunity given to contribute to this important motion, Mr. Speaker, which is very important to our country, Mr. Speaker. And as a lawmaker, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I came up with a bill in this House, and I want to thank the members for supporting my bill, which went through, Mr. Speaker, and was signed to become a law by the President, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say it's not easy to make a bill and to go through to become a law, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my contribution is that I want to, before I support, although, Mr. Speaker, I know I've seen some areas whereby I think when we go to the Committee of Whole House, I'll make an amendment to this bill, Mr. Speaker. But for now, Mr. Speaker, I want to support the bill by saying that, Mr. Speaker, one, this bill is very important because it will modernize the system. The bill clarifies Article 133 and replace the outdated Cap 94, Mr. Speaker. It removes us from arbitration pardons to our structures accountable framework, Mr. Speaker, which is very important, Mr. Speaker, to our country. And Mr. Speaker, as members of Parliament, when we are here to make laws, we also need to see how we can modernize the laws, because our constitution was made in many years ago, Mr. Speaker, and some of these laws may be taken by event, and when we modernize, we also make a progress to our country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, also this bill, Mr. Speaker, it focuses on rehabilitation and not just punishment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the guiding principle promote rehabilitation, community involvement, Mr. Speaker, and also social support for the reintegration. Mercy should be for formed offenders who show remorse, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we don't even wish our people, Mr. Speaker, when they go to jail, Mr. Speaker, we wish them to get reformed. And when they come back and join the society, we want them to show the society that that they are reformed, and also they continue building the society together with other people, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, also the same bill will also reduce it will also reduce the prison overcrowding and the cost, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when I was doing my research, I found that every inmate, Mr. Speaker, spends 87,600 per year, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, you see some of the offenders, Mr. Speaker, they go in there and they change. Like there's a guy from my constituency who was sentenced to death, Mr. Speaker. And he go there and get reformed. He became a very great pastor, Mr. Speaker. And when he was released and come back to the community, Mr. Speaker, he brought a big change in my constituency, Mr. Speaker. Today, he's a pastor, and he has mentored many youths, Mr. Speaker. And he defended many people to even indulge in criminal activities, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, when I'm saying this bill, Mr. Speaker, I know it will also go to help many people and the crowd which is in ourselves, Mr. Speaker, and also create space for the others who now, Mr. Speaker, do some crimes and they are taken there to get reformed, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that this is a very important bill to the country, and I support, Mr. Speaker. But further, Mr. Speaker, I don't want this bill, the changes we are doing to this bill, Mr. Speaker, I don't want it to create or encourage people to do offenses knowing that they will be released when they change, Mr. Speaker, because some of them cannot even pretend that they have changed, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that we also need these people to be, some of the people to be removed. They create space for the others, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, you have seen what happened over the weekend when we went to Homa Bay, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was there. We were badly attacked. Even today, Mr. Speaker, I have not healed from what I saw that day, Mr. Speaker. So we also want some of the inmates to be removed from the cells to create a room for Honorable Karuma and Gladys Wanga, because they need to be taken to the Speaker.
Order. You're out of order. You are out of order. Cannot discuss a fellow member of Parliament here without a proper motion. There are rules in the House. This is order. The Honorable Sunkuli, Julius.
Mr. Speaker, I also want to support this bill to give His Excellency the President an opportunity to exercise mercy on certain aspects. And Mr. Speaker, I just want to say that it is always good to understand the context under which we are coming from. The first is what we used to call the prerogative of mercy, and now we are calling it the power of mercy, is a very, very well-entrenched Commonwealth principle.
On what is out on what Honorable Sunkuli is doing?
Mr. Speaker, that's unfair because I was on the floor.
Order. You're out of order. And don't invite my wrath. You should learn the rules of the House. Proceed, Honorable.
As I said, Mr. Speaker, in the Commonwealth derived its laws mainly from England, and in the British system, where justice ends, then mercy starts taking effect. The king or the queen had the prerogative to look into the situation of a particular convict and see whether to exercise a power of mercy. This is mainly based on a number of things, Mr. Speaker. One, the judiciary indeed has the responsibility of looking into the evidence. And they only convict a person based on the evidence that is available. But sometimes, Mr. Speaker, this is also a human institution. The judiciary, the judges are human. And there is a chance that sometimes somebody will get convicted through the process of the judiciary and have no recourse but to go to prison. But in reality, someone must look at it from another point of view. And that is why it has always been the case that we give the sovereign of a country the responsibility to look at that situation and say where justice has not, where the law has not looked at it, justice can still have another opportunity. So this law has come to Kenya because we are part, first of all, of the Commonwealth. We have had this law called where we've had this prerogative of mercy, where His Excellency the President could pardon a number of crimes. But Mr. Speaker, the reason why we want to effect Article 133 today is because for one reason, there is a thinking that we should not make this power arbitrary, that we must base it in law. And that is a good thing. So we have a lot of provisions today in this bill which say how the advisory committee will be appointed, how pardon officers will be appointed, how everybody in that system of power of mercy is appointed. And that is good, but there is a few things of caution, Mr. Speaker, because when this bill comes to committee stage, we have to amend a number of things to make it aligned to mercy. One, I do not believe myself that the power of mercy should have too many rules. Because in the first place, the president must exercise true mercy. One, the exercise of this power must be under exceptional circumstances. Because in the first place, you cannot demand mercy. You cannot demand mercy because it is not part of the legal rights that you have. It is mercy. And to exercise genuine mercy, we have to leave some sort of leverage in the hands of the president to be able to exercise that mercy. So, in my opinion, when you tabulate too many reasons why the president should give mercy, you are actually legislating mercy. And mercy cannot be fully legislated. Let us just say, for instance, that under exceptional circumstances, the president may pardon these persons. And pardon has two arms. Either it is totally unconditional. The president says you go home and you go home. Or if you are, for instance, suffering, you are on a very high capital offense, he might remit that offense to life imprisonment or to imprisonment. And that is based on a number of well-evaluated reasons that the president does in his own discretion. I say this, Mr. Speaker, because in a litigious country like Kenya, you will start getting people going to court and saying that His Excellency the President acted ultra vires, that he did not act in accordance with the act. The prerogative of mercy should not be subject to judicial review, because although it is a very important act of the executive, and most of the actions of the executive should be included under judicial review, the prerogative of mercy should not be subjected to judicial review. And because of that, we should not put too many rules, because unfortunately, under our law, if you legislate so many things, what is not in it in the law is considered to be outside it. We must always keep in mind that what we are doing here is to give powers for the sovereign of the country to look at where the law became harsh. There are, Mr. Speaker, I have practiced myself criminal law in many courts. And I know, for instance, that there are some offenses in this country that we have legislated out of emotion and said that such and such an offense must be punished with such and such a punishment. Where you introduce a minimum punishment, and then in the end, because the judge has nothing to do, because if you say you are to be in prison for not less than 14 years, there is no way the judge or the magistrate can bring you down below 14 years. So the only way to do it in the end is to let His Excellency the President go and look at it more keenly. And I say this especially with some offenses where young boys get imprisoned for longer than they're supposed to do because of little things, messes they have made with girls. I think that the President can look at it and say that this is not a good thing. It is a good thing, of course, Mr. Speaker, that the powers of mercy will be exercised on the advice of the advisory committee. But this advisory committee, we need to relook at the way we have decided to form it here so that we can make it more realistic. We make it an advisory committee that is capable of advising the President properly. But a little bit offside, Mr. Speaker, the biggest mercy that we can have to our our convicts today in Kenya is to improve the prison conditions. Going to prison in Kenya, Mr. Speaker, is a real punishment. In many countries, going to prison is not exactly that bad. And I'm not saying that we should enjoy going to prison. But when I was an ambassador in China, I visited our convicted persons in Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong, of course, they have very good prisons where people work, they earn money, and they can be able to send something back home, and they are not in a dungeon. They are living a true dignity of a human being right there in Hong Kong. Of course, they still say we want to go to Kenya, but in reality, they dread coming to go to industrial area prison, which is not quite a habitable place. The food is horrible, the accommodation is bad, and we should now look at the way we improve our prisons so that, in fact, as those who do not succeed to get the prerogative of mercy exercised on them do not get an inhuman punishment. Mr. Speaker, I support.
The Honorable Milo Diambo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I do support with the amendments. And Mr. Speaker, from the beginning, I just want to say that this is a good bill which is anchored in the Constitution. I would want to say, though, that I wish that we stuck with the issue of prerogative of mercy, because whenever you talk about power, power has a tendency of being misused. I wish we focus more on responsibilities than on power. Mr. Speaker, I also just want to say, maybe just before I make very brief comments on the bill, even in response to what the majority leader had spoken about, that we are all presumed innocent until proven guilty. And so whenever you actually have a case where people are given bail, and I know because we have been customized to a situation where people are charged before, even for murder, that they will be kept in forever. But Mr. Speaker, that process was really abused in the past, and it was abused because you'd find that somebody would accuse another of murder or robbery with violence, and it's not bailable, and somebody stays. Mr. Speaker, I know a person who stayed in custody for 10 years and then was eventually found not to have committed the offense. And that is why those of us who are founders of the Constitution said that we needed to do away with it. Mr. Speaker, the other issue is that I'm very uncomfortable where we have ADR on serious crimes or felonies. I know in some communities it is practiced, but I don't think we need alternative dispute resolution in issues of murder, unless we are talking about manslaughter, but not murder, which is premeditated. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to mention just a few things in this bill. Number one, I'm very uncomfortable with the definition of vulnerable offender. Maybe we need to relook at it because I don't understand a vulnerable offender, that a person who is 60 years is a vulnerable offender. What makes one vulnerable offender? I will soon be 60 years. What makes me vulnerable? If I come in here and shoot people, why am I vulnerable? I think maybe if it's somebody who is older. Another thing is also that I'm seeing that we are saying that a woman who has a child, children who are below 2 years is a vulnerable offender. If I'm a mother and I have a child who is 2 years old and I go and I shoot my neighbor, I premeditate and kill my neighbor, and I do not have postmortem depression, what makes me vulnerable? I think what we need to do is qualify and say that maybe if it's proven that that person also has postpartum depression. Mr. Speaker, I think the other thing that I'm uncomfortable is that we say that the victim's views may be considered. Mr. Speaker, I am unapologetically a stronger supporter of victims than offenders. And the reason why I am, and I brought the Victim Protection Act and sponsored the Victim Protection Act, is because our justice system pays much more attention to offenders than to victims of crimes. It's almost very, fanciful to become an offender. But what do we think about the victims? Like in the case that we saw in Homa Bay, I really felt sad for that family in Shauriako Estate. I know I grew up in Homa Bay. I know what Shauriako Estate is. It's a semi-slum. And you could see from the condition that that mother, who is a widow, has left behind young children. She's Ugandan. The husband, people have refused to bury her. So they are thinking of transporting the children to Uganda. And I'm wondering, then what happened to the children when they remain here? But who are we thinking of? The offender. They have a right to a hearing. They have a right. I'm not saying they shouldn't have it, but what about those children who have been left without a mother? The system must also think very clearly about victims, and therefore the views of the victim must be mandatory when you have such a case. And I want to disagree with my good brother, Senior Counsel Honorable Sunkuli, that the power of mercy should actually be, there should be guidelines, because we know ourselves as Kenyans. Very quickly it will be politicized, and you'll find in cases like in Homa Bay, where we know the people who have planned, we know the people who got the goons. I come from Homa Bay County. We know it's in the public domain. Tell me one who has been arrested. And assuming they were arrested, charged, and jailed, politically we will exercise the power of mercy. So it must be subjected to rules and guidelines so that the prerogative of mercy should also be subject to judicial review where it is abused. Because otherwise in Kenya, everybody will be let go if I know and I can bribe my way, or I can talk to, this culture of let me talk to so and talk to who in Kenya, let us follow rules and stop talking to people. Let the people who talk are the people who talk to God in churches and speak in tongues in churches or in mosques where people pray. But the rest of us, let us follow rules. Mr. Speaker, the other thing I just wanted to say, I didn't want to interrupt Honorable Sunkuli, but there is a little bit of an issue with the Children Act, where you have children of similar ages who have sex with each other, and they are punished. For that one, it would be good for us to bring an amendment to the Sexual Offences Act, but not like what I was seeing in our groups or elsewhere, where we're saying that there are people who are here wrongfully, offended. Especially these days with social media. Somebody probably murdered. And people who are psychotic, they are excellent at lying. They can concord stories. They have killed, they have murdered, then they give a very sad story. And because we are also looking for viewership, we go and put this story, and people don't interrogate. They say, oh, this poor person was wrongfully convicted. If you are wrongfully convicted, there is a judicial system. There is a review system. There is an appeal system. What we need is to enhance legal representation for such persons so that people don't get to be wrongfully convicted. But if we leave it free, Mr. Speaker, everybody will come up and say that they were wrongfully convicted. And it should be we should not actually exercise this power of mercy for very grievous offenses, including offenses such as murder, including offenses such as robbery with violence, including offenses such as rape, and especially of defilement of children. We should not allow such things to be under the power of mercy. And I was looking carefully, if you have left that, I've not seen it. And Mr. Speaker, I was also seeing in the definition we have actuarial assessment, and I'm seeing that the actuarial assessment may be used to deal with or to inform persons who deserve mercy. And Mr. Speaker, or to look at to determine recidivism. Mr. Speaker, and I would want to add that even though I'm a lawyer, we should not use such tough words in this bill. Because in Omabe, we have a challenge, pronouncing tough words. So because of that, Mr. Speaker, I just want to urge that we actually look at more of psychological assessment other than statistical assessment. Mr. Speaker, I'd also want to say that if you look at clause 6.1 on the qualifications for appointment of the advisory committee, Mr. Speaker, let me just look at it. If you look at it, it says a person is qualified for the appointment as a member of the advisory committee and Articles 132(2)(c) of the Constitution if the person is a citizen of Kenya, holds a qualification either as, and then we put. Now this becomes a bit vague because you are either as an advocate or a medical professional, and it means, so it's not actually cast in stone that they are that. So it means we could actually have an advocate, medical, and leave the others. I would also want us to look at the issue of the face of Kenya when we are making such appointments. I had a lot, Mr. Speaker, to say, but I just want to say that, Mr. Speaker, this process shouldn't be politicized. And going by actually what we have seen more recently in Homa Bay, the kind of violence that was meted against our people. And Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I wish to support with amendments.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this very important bill. Honourable Speaker, the Power of Mercy Bill, National Assembly Bill number 56 of 2025, could probably not have come at the right time. It's part of the implementation of the Constitution of Kenya, and I think it has taken a bit of time to come to the fore. Honourable Speaker, it will give His Excellency, whoever the President will be, there's some leeway to apply certain acts of clemency, which is necessary for the head of state. Sometimes, Honourable Speaker, it becomes necessary for the head of state to intervene in certain matters, and they have no flexibility. They are bound by the Constitution and by the law of Kenya. But the elaboration of this particular article of the Constitution in form of law is progress in this country, and I'm happy that in the Parliament is going to be on record for having come up with a law on power of mercy. And Mr. Speaker, the most important thing is to check within this particular law the extent to which we have provided for checks and balances, so that we do not allow corruption and other social evils to set in and take control. And I've taken quite some time, to Honourable Speaker, to look at the provisions. And some of them, Honourable Speaker, I may wish to mention. And I would like to start with the issues raised by the public participation. And some of them are very, very critical. For instance, Honourable Speaker, the National Intelligence Service raised concerns over the lack of standardized procedures or framework for actuarial assessment. And I would like to look at actuarial assessment and wonder whether actuarial assessment is really sufficient. They're talking about basically noting the risk profiles of the offenders, and also which must be metric-based. And I want to pick out what the Honourable member who has just finished speaking said, that we need to look a lot more on psychological concerns of that particular person. And Honourable Speaker, when we look at the actuarial analysis, the psychology may not be expounded as much. Honourable Speaker, when you look at the prisons, they are concerned about the errors that probably capital offenders may have been mistakenly, put in place. And they have basically looked at how have we done the alignment with the penal code, so that the power of mercy does not necessarily release dangerous people into the community again. Honourable Speaker, there are several stakeholders, others like LSK and others, but I want to point out what came out from the Witnesses Protection Agency and even the Media Council of Kenya, who requested that clear mandate on data analysis and anonymization for the vulnerable victims and the structured frameworks for responsible public communication must be looked into very seriously. And, Honourable Speaker, we are engaging a lot more. The legislation seems to be engaging a lot more on how do we relieve people who have been taken in as a result convicted, either erroneously or correctly, and not necessarily the effect it will have on the victims of such offenses. And that is key, which is very, very important in as far as we are concerned. The provisos within this particular provision of Article 133 space clearly the presidential possible actions upon basically personal application. And I want to take a minute to look at personal application, Honourable Speaker. Personal application has to do with the individual, a victim in this particular, not a victim, but an offender in this case, who is already a convict, requesting to be considered. But I go back to this legislation and the provision that has been given in this particular legislation, and note that, Honourable Speaker, the process itself must be foolproof. And I want to revisit the articles 40 to 45, which basically introduces the framework for nationwide awareness creation, continuous public education, offender sensitization, and guarantees channels for public to access crucial information. When it comes to vetting these particular individuals, and that vetting is also is given as a prerogative of the state secretariat. And I think I like it that way, Honourable Speaker, because the board, or rather the committee, which is supposed to propose who or qualify those who are supposed to be given mercy, basically should act on a report that has already been prepared upon thorough assessment. And the teams that have been given this particular responsibility basically are conditioned to basically do risk assessment in terms of when we release this particular criminal or somebody who has already been convicted, then what kind of risks are we likely to be exposing our people to? And also maintaining clean records thereafter. So, Honourable Speaker, they must be very well vetted and then genuinely, reformed offenders to be able to assess the extent to which the assessment has captured, and the genuity is not something that can be done in a hurry. It's not something that can be done very fast. So before a president can give a pronouncement, Honourable Speaker, I think there needs to be a lot of work to be done, which basically will qualify the individuals. The president has several options. The president can basically delay punishment. I believe this is when the case is going on for an indefinite or a set time, can say maybe for 2 years or for 1 year or for indefinitely. The president can change punishment to a less severe one, and the president can also remit a punishment to something either to partially to be effected partially, not really to be completely taken up. When you are given so many options, my worry, Honourable Speaker, is the extent to which the advisory committee will be proposing some of these decrees, or rather, what will inform this particular decrees, because the presidential advisory must clearly note the kind of person that they are proposing to be given mercy, and the extent to which these people are fitted within the various categories, and how do they qualify in this particular case. Also, when I look at the composition of the advisory committee under the Attorney General's office and having the CS in charge of correctional services being part of that, and the 5-member, I want to very closely look at the description of the 5-member committee within the law, and I hope this 5-member description has really taken care of the issues of, although it has clearly indicated that there should not be state officials, then the hope is that the committee has taken time to comprehensively, the committee of this House has taken time to comprehensively distinguish who are these members. I remember some of the members proposed are retired, uniformed officials, and especially the military. And Honourable Speaker, I have a lot of faith in the military in this country because they are not exposed to a lot of social evils, and they are people who have been conditioned, and they have lived a more or less pure life, and they have seen a lot of progress going on or happening when they are given a responsibility. And I can cite even some of them which are outside the legal framework. For instance, we had the Kenya Meat Commission, which was not working. We were voting 600 million every year to Kenya Meat Commission, and it never worked. When it was given to the military to manage, within 1.5 years, we zero-rated the national exchequer requirements. And therefore, now it is a profit-making entity. So which means that our military are properly trained to do the right thing. And of course, being in such a situation, they will not embarrass the country as much as they advise the president on who to release. When you look at the victims' views, Honourable Speaker, they may be considered by the advisory committee or may not be considered by the advisory committee. And in this particular respect, we need a report from the correctional services, which therefore clearly shows that this person has been informing over time. And, Honourable Speaker, when it comes to the provisions, we need to look at the provisions and see how they have been done, to make sure that the process is free of any form of influence. The final issue that I want to mention is about the enabling legislation. This legislation comes in partly as implementation of the Constitution and also to model the action of a president in terms of enabling, rather giving giving people the mercy or other exercising the power of mercy. It has happened in the past, and sometimes it has led to reprisals where criminality has increased instead of reducing. So we need to be a lot more careful this time around as we look at this. And Honourable Speaker, with those remarks, I wish to support. Thank you.
The Honorable Kuria Kimani.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, from the onset, I would like to give my voice to this and say I am fully support of the Power of Mercy Amendment Bill of 2025 as sponsored by the leader of Majority Party, the great member for Great People of Kikuyu, the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. Honorable Speaker, this particular bill is giving full effect to Article 133 of the Constitution. It is providing a clear and transparent and accountable framework for the exercise of presidential power of mercy. It is going to be free or conditional pardon, postponement of punishment, substitution of a less severe form of punishment, and remission of all or part of the sentence. Honorable Speaker, the existing Power of Mercy Act of 2011, Cap 94, has served us very well. But, Honorable Speaker, it is now outdated. This bill is therefore seeking to modernize the system, strengthen the Power of Mercy Advisory Committee, and, Honorable Speaker, introduce clearer eligibility criteria that embeds victim participation, enhances reintegration and public safety protocols. Honorable Speaker, this particular bill is seeking to provide for the following provisions. One, as I said, it is provide to the effect for operation of Article 133 and especially Article 133(1) of our Constitution, which now gives the conditions for what's called now the power of mercy, where now the advisory committee may grant a free or conditional pardon to a person convicted or of offense. That is Article 133, Section Clause 1A. B, postponing the carrying out of a punishment either for a specific or identified period. C, substituting a less severe form of punishment. Or D, remitting all or part of the punishment, Honorable Speaker. In addition to what the bill is going to do, in addition to Operation Article 133(1) of the Constitution, it is seeking to provide for the composition, appointment, tenure, which is giving a single 5-year part-time period. It's also giving, providing for what the qualifications are going to be, the functions and the powers of the advisory committee. Honorable Speaker, this bill is also establishing clear petition processes, the eligibility thresholds, which, for example, is providing for at least 1/3 of sentence for many determinate sentences, and it's also providing for longer minimums for life or death sentences, and it's also providing for an assessment criteria, that is the age, nature of offense, rehabilitation, post-conviction conduct, victim views, and also, most importantly, issues of public interest. Honorable Speaker, this bill is also providing to introduce structured mechanisms for conditional pardons with supervision, record management, and revocation where such conditions have been breached. It's also going to strengthen the Secretariat, provide funding for the same Secretariat, provide awareness and reporting obligations, which including, Honorable Speaker, very important for this House, now the oversight of Parliament. Honorable Speaker, this bill is also seeking to report rehabilitation, to decongest our prisons, to reduce the physical burden of incarceration, and facilitate safe reintegration of reformed offenders. Honorable Speaker, this is not an open door for arbitrary releases. It is now going to be a structured, evidence-based system that balances mercy with justice, public safety, and the rights of victims. Maybe, Honorable Speaker, what are going to be the benefits of this particular bill if this Honorable House passes into law? Honorable Speaker, it's going to lead to reduce overcrowding, Honorable Speaker, and reduce the costs of our prisons. It's going to reduce overcrowding of our prisons and reduce the cost of our prisons, Honorable Speaker. It's important to mention that for every prisoner, Honorable Speaker, in our prisons, it costs taxpayers money to put those individuals in those prisons. The food that they eat, the security they enjoy, the power they enjoy, the electricity they enjoy, the bills that they are fully paid for by taxpayers, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, the prevention of this overcrowding is going to reduce overcrowding, also reduce the cost to taxpayers, Honorable Speaker. This bill is also going to provide for rehabilitation and second chances. Honorable Speaker, many offenders, especially those who have demonstrated genuine reform, deserve a structured pathway back into the society. This is going to support family stability, it's going to reduce recidivism, and uphold the principle of restorative justice, Honorable Speaker. It's going to lead to transparency and accountability. The bill is now reinforcing the independence of the advisory committee, which is now going to require consideration of victims' views under Article 134 of our Constitution. And it's going to introduce better reporting and procedural safeguard, Honorable Speaker. You and I had this discussion earlier on the power of mercy being solely resting with the President. And whereas we expect that the President would act rationally, there could also be a rogue President, Honorable Speaker, who could also take that arbitrary power and release the worst of our criminals from a prison, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, it's now important that now that advisory committee is now being provided for through an act of parliament with now safeguards on the procedure, Honorable Speaker. It's also going to align with the national priorities, which, for example, including the bottom-up transformation agenda, which means that now these prisoners can now contribute to the welfare of our community by contributing to economic growth, Honorable Speaker. If we compare this, Honorable Speaker, for example, to the Chinese model, where the Chinese prisoners are some of the people that we see doing overseas projects, Honorable Speaker, that now lead to earning of income to their respective Honorable Speaker. So it does not pay, Honorable Speaker, to have taxpayers spend money to put energetic men and women in prison, whereas the energetic men in prison could still benefit from the benefits you're giving them, but also contribute positively to the society by using their energy, Honorable Speaker, to build our roads, to build our infrastructure projects, to build all these projects, Honorable Speaker, so that they are also productive to our economy, Honorable Speaker. But I took time to understand, how does this compare to other jurisdictions? How does Kenya compare Kenya's constitutional design in other jurisdictions, Honorable Speaker? And maybe the first example that comes to our head is the United States of America, Honorable Speaker. The US President has a very broad, largely unilateral clemency power that is given to him under Article 2, Section 2 of the US Constitution. The advice comes from the Office of the Pardon Attorney in the Department of State, but the President is not bound by it and can, and most of the time does, act independently or preemptively. The process is therefore highly discretionary and frequently criticized as being very political. Now, this Kenya's model is now going to be more structured and less susceptible to unilateral discretion, because the Constitution will therefore require the President to act in accordance with the advice that's going to be provided to him by the multi-member advisory committee, which, very important to mention, is including non-state independent actors or members, Honorable Speaker. For the United Kingdom, the royal prerogative of mercy is exercised by the sovereign on the advice of the relevant Secretary of the State, which is usually the State Department for Justice. It is used sparingly, Honorable Speaker, and typically for clear miscarriages of justice or highly exceptional cases. And it's also not a routine tool for rehabilitation of prison management. However, Kenyan system is now going to be broader in purpose and more institutionalized through a dedicated constitutionally mandated advisory committee. Honorable Speaker, for South Africa, the President has power under Section 84(2)(j) of the Constitution of South Africa to pardon, reprieve, or remit. Applications are processed through the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, which makes recommendations. South Africa, therefore, has used mass remissions to manage overcrowding and has had special processes, including post-TRC, Honorable Speaker. Kenya's approach is therefore, compared to these other jurisdictions, now going to be more formalized and on a constitutional level with an independent multi-member committee, and most importantly, with explicit victim participation requirements. I think it is Honorable Millie Odhiambo who said that the current law, Honorable Speaker, gives more power or more preference to offenders more than it does, Honorable Speaker, to the victims. And therefore, this law emphasizes the need for participation of the victims, not just giving attention to the offenders, Honorable Speaker. For Nigeria, Section 175 of the Nigerian Constitution gives the President power of mercy, exercised after consultation with the Council of State. There is a Presidential Advisory Committee on the prerogative of mercy. But Kenya's model, compared to that of South Africa, therefore, is comparatively stronger and independent, because now the advisory committee is much more independent, as in Article 103 of our Constitution, Honorable Speaker. When you compare it with other jurisdictions of Uganda, Ghana, and Tanzania, ours will become a much better legislation that's going to ensure that there is a second chance given to offenders, that those offenders are going to be given a chance to contribute back to the economy, and most importantly, there's a constitutional process being followed.
It's a point of order, Honorable Professor Inyikal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise on Standing Order 96, considering how important this bill is, that now the debate be adjourned to the future.
You want debate being adjourned?
Yes.
Okay. It's very simple. I now put the question that the debate be now adjourned. As many of the opinions say aye.
Aye.
As many of the contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it. Next order. Honorable members, the next order is order number 12 and number 13 are deferred. Yeah?
Order number 12, motion.
Next, yeah.
Inspection visit to the Kenyan Embassy in Rabat, Morocco.
Yes, order number 12 is different. By the interest of the committee who want to be fully involved in this report, deliberation of this report, I have directed that this order number 12 be deferred to an appropriate date. Next week, and to be brought in as a priority. Next order.
Order number 13, motion. Inspection visit to the Kenyan Embassy in Cairo, Egypt.
I also direct that this order number 13 motion be also deferred to an appropriate date next week, when the full capacity of the committee or many members of parliament are in the House to deliberate on this. Next order.
Order number 14, motion. Appointment of a firm to provide external audit services to the Office of the Auditor General.
I'm made to understand that the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee is not in the House and has also requested for this business to be deferred to an appropriate date in the future. So I have directed that this business also, order number 14, be deferred to an appropriate date in the future. Honorable members, there doesn't seem to be any other business on the order paper for today. And under the circumstances, honorable members, the time being 6:32, you may stand. The time being 6:32 p.m., this House stands adjourned until Tuesday, the 25th of August, the year 2026, at 2:30 p.m.